Hello, this is Justin Williams with the Wolfpacker Podcast. I'm joined today by co-host Matt Carter. We also have a very special guest. But before we get too far into this episode, I want to remind our listeners at home to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast wherever you listen to us. We're on the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, Google Play. You can also watch us on YouTube, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel while you're there. Please give this video a thumbs up. Also, when you're on the wolfpacker.com, please use promo code PACK60 for a free 60-day trial on all of our premium content news and analysis. That's PACK60 for a free 60-day trial on all of our premium content news and analysis. So I'd like to introduce our very special guest, Director of Player Personnel, the new and improved Director of Player Personnel, Merci Falaise. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to pass it over to my co-host, Matt, because as I've said before we got started here, he wanted first dibs on the first question. So I'm going to give it over to Matt, and then Merci, we're going to give you your pedestal to accept all the praise for your new promotion.
Thank you.
Yeah, I let Justin do the promo because he reads it like a pro. Like he got that natural reading of the promo. But I'm going to take you down memory lane because I went back into the archives of the Wolfpacker magazine. This is the magazine from 2004. On page 11.
Okay.
Make sure I get this right.
Yeah.
There's Mr. Moshi right there.
There
Photography has improved a lot over the years. And so has that the laying out and designing of a magazine, but you're coming full circle, and I just wanted to know what's your reaction to and your thoughts about at your alma mater now kind of being, in charge of the recruiting office.
No, it really is a huge honor to be back here in the first place, and then be able to be over the recruiting department, and literally, my biggest thing is just helping young student athletes and show them that they can reach their goals here at NC State.
Yeah. What do you remember about those days of the recruiting process when you went through it and ended up signing with, I believe it was Chuck Amato was the head coach back then. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was Chuck Amato. Mike Berry was my O-line coach. But there are good times, great times, and even being in recruiting now, just the different rules and things we have, completely different. Like I remember coming here on my official visit, and they had like my name on the scoreboard. We definitely can't do anything like that now. Just a whole lot of just different types of rules and things that you could do then that you can't do now. But great experience, got to be around great people, and that was one of the reasons why end up making the decision to come to NC State. Just great people.
My last question before I give it over to Justin. First thing that stood out about Coach Amato when you saw him, was it the voice or was it the chest?
Good question.
Could also be the sunglasses, by the way.
Yeah. My first time talking to him was on the phone, so it's probably his voice.
Right.
So definitely the voice, and then once meeting him, he usually has some shades on, and then of course he liked the weight room a little bit too, so chest stuck out a little bit.
Yeah, it did.
Well, Merci, I was gonna address you as coach. Should I address you as coach? Do the players call you coach, or do they just call you Merci?
Once they get here, so through the recruiting process, everybody called me Coach Merci, and I was fortunate. I coached for 9 years, so kind of always been Coach Merci.
Right.
Coach Falaise for some, but usually I always got broke down to Coach Merci because, of course, my last name's a little harder to say. But around the building, because literally I've been through pretty much our whole roster now through the recruiting process. Everybody just call me Merci or Merce. That's what I get around the building because real family feel around here. So that's what I usually get.
Well, Mercy's easy enough. I will admit I butchered his name before we started this podcast, so I owe you some suicides, Coach. But I guess my first question for you is, with the promotion to Director of Player Personnel, you were the Assistant Director of Player Personnel and Recruit Communications. there for the past 3 or 4 seasons. So can you tell me a little bit about what the different roles, in your day-to-day workload are going to be with, the new promotion?
Probably the main thing is just overseeing everything throughout it. So just making sure all evals are done, just coming up with recruiting plans for different guys, looking at graphics, looking at different things, making sure all the coaches get what they need to help recruit. Just basically just overseeing everything and making sure everything runs as smoothly as possible.
Now, when you were a player, did you kind of envision a career like this once your playing career was done, or were you originally interested in coaching and this kind of like developed into that, or kind of take me through the storyline of how you kind of ended up in your current role today?
Yeah, I knew once I finished playing, whenever that would be, I knew I still wanted to be around sports in some capacity. That was one of the reasons that I chose to major in sport management and get my undergrad here at NC State in sport management. So once I finished playing, I actually started coaching. So like I just stated, I coached for 9 years. And before I got the opportunity to come back to NC State, I was at the University of Tennessee for 3 years. And 2 of those years I worked with the running backs. And my last year I worked in recruiting. And I was fortunate enough that I kind of seen my lane and what I wanted to do. So my last year there, talked to the head coach, talked to the running back coach, and they actually created a position for me. So from there, I actually saw that this was kind of my lane and what I really loved and really wanted to do. So from there, got the opportunity to come back here and been back here since.
I got one more quick one before I pass it back to Matt, but on your GoPack.com profile, it says you once worked at Garden City Community College and you coached Nick Marshall and you coached Tyreek Hill. Now, I got to ask you, is Tyreek Hill the fastest human being you've ever seen in person?
Not even a question. When I was here as a player, I mean, we played Clemson, and CJ Spiller, up until I seen Tyreek, was the fastest person I had seen on the field. When I was at Garden City, our head coach, who I had known since I was like 18 years old, so I had known him for a long time. So I knew him very personally, and sometimes he would elaborate and stretch a story a little bit. So during camp, he told us that we're going to have the fastest man in college football coming to play for us. And everybody's like, okay. So, like, Coach, where is he at right now? He's like, he's in Spain running in the Junior Olympics. So everybody's like, okay, he might be right. So first time in practice, he caught like a little swing pass, and immediately all us coaches, everybody just looked at each other like, what is going on? Because I had never seen anybody move that fast. So definitely was a great pleasure and honor to like even see something like that in person. And also Tyreek's a great dude also.
You fooled me there for a second. I thought you were gonna come up with somebody else, but that confirmed it. I mean, he's the fastest guy I've ever seen on TV, other than Usain Bolt maybe. And I would imagine it's a spectacle to see him in person.
Yeah, just different guy. Like even in high school, his senior year in the 200 meters, it was the same year as the Olympics that year, and he would have got 6th place in the Olympics that year with his time. So just a different guy.
Yeah.
Just a different guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a curiosity question of mine. How much do you guys kind of look at that stuff during the recruiting process? You're trying to verify, I guess. I mean, you look at.
Yeah, we do. There's actually a service that we subscribe to that actually helps and tracks all the track times and all the different throws for all the guys who do track in high school. So you can go back and like compare. You can compare our team, people who ran track on our team, to all the guys in high school. And it's just an extra variable. Of course, first thing we're going to look at is how they play on the football field. So just an extra variable that we can look at and verify things.
How different has things been lately with the dead period going on forever now? And then the follow-up with that, how crazy is it going to be at midnight on May 31st when everybody's let loose again?
Yeah, it's definitely been a different process and something new for everybody that we all have went through. Cool thing now is we actually have technology. So technology has helped us out a lot. Like even now, like I'm not in person with y'all, but I can see y'all. So technology has helped a lot with being able to build relationships with guys and just talk to them and learn about them. And of course, June 1st, it's probably going to be a little crazy. So we look forward to having all the guys we can come check us out because literally we're not in the NFL, so we just don't pick them and they got to come here. So got to be a perfect match. They gotta like what we have to offer, and we have to like what they have to offer. So it all has to mesh and come together.
That's a good follow, because I'm going to ask, how important is that fit when you're evaluating? How much of that evaluation process just on the field, and how much of it is trying to find guys where they may look good on film, but they might not be a good fit for what you do schematically, or maybe not necessarily a good fit for how your programs run?
Nah, that's huge. Just making sure it's a great fit. Our culture that Coach Doran has implemented and put in place here. That's something that we live by. HTT. Everybody around here, we're gonna work hard. We're gonna be tough, and we're gonna all do it together. So definitely got to have those attributes, and then also we're really big. Like NC State is one of the best institutions in the country academically. So we want to make sure that guys can come in and be able to earn their degree.
My last question before I kick it back to Justin, to the layman person out there who are like, okay, what did Merci do? What did, if somebody was to ask you, what's your job like? What would you tell them? What's the job description or how you would describe it?
Simply, I would just state that I help young individuals see that they can reach all their goals here at NC State. That will be how I describe it to someone if I had just a couple seconds to do it.
All right, that's a good one.
I'm sure it's a position where you got to be a jack of all trades type of situation. I'm sure it probably changes day by day on what you're doing, right?
Yeah, no day is the same ever. It's literally never any Groundhog Days. Like it's always something new, always something popping up that you kind of got to take care of and make sure everything runs smoothly.
Well, speaking of things, changing up pretty regularly, I wanted to follow up on one of Matt's questions because, he's talking about the dead period ending here soon. But I want to take you back to maybe a month ago, 13 months ago, this time last year, when recruiting changed forever, but also temporarily it changed dramatically from, how you guys had been doing it for years and years, even before you got into coaching. So can you kind of tell me a little bit about what it was like in those first few weeks when you guys got, sent home and nobody knew anything about COVID-19? It was just this new pandemic. Everybody was, worried, wearing gloves, going to the grocery store, pumping up gas. You didn't know how long you'd be in your own apartment. I mean, can you kind of take me through like what that was like as a staff when you guys come together and you still got all these goals that you want to accomplish, particularly on the recruiting trail, which is such a personal, has been such a personal in-person type of situation. How was that transition to going, a lot more digital, and how do you guys feel like, you did as a program compared to, some of the other programs out there in the country?
Yeah, definitely. Like you just stated, like we all went through this as not only NC State, but as the world, we all went through this pandemic together. So there's definitely something new for all of us. And again, like with me, I'm pretty big on communicating with guys and just getting to know them as people, their parents, just getting to know them as people. So for me, it's just being in literally constant communication, just checking on people, seeing how they're doing, just seeing how they're able to adapt to what's going on in the world. And regarding other programs and what other people we're doing, I just try to stay focused on the one pack, one goal that we got here at NC State.
Spoken like a true coach. I got another question to kind of piggyback on that because, this past week you guys introduced your new recruiting staff with you at the top of the ticket. But there's a couple roles, Director of Creative Media and Assistant Director of Creative Media. Those are going to be filled by Mike Jones as the Director and Maurice Moses as the Assistant Director of Creative Media. But can you talk a little bit about, those seem like newer roles in 2021 in college football. Those aren't roles that have always been part of college football programs. And can you talk about, what those guys do and how important their jobs are in terms of, recruiting these 16, 17-year-old young men that are constantly online, looking on Twitter, and how important, some of the things that they do are to get some of these recruits?
Yeah, it's definitely progressed a long time, and I'm getting older, but I don't feel old yet. But when I was in school, when I was going through the recruiting department, it was no such thing as a Twitter. It was no such thing as social media. So having those positions and having those guys around who can like display and show our culture and what we have going on here at NC State is essential. And they're also great guys, great individuals, and they do great work. All the things that I've seen and had known of them it was all true, and they've been doing a great job since they've been here.
So you find yourself on Twitter a lot more these days because that's where all the recruits are, and it's like you almost get a heartbeat day-by-day situation of what's going on with, all the photo edits and video edits. I know you guys do some cool stuff. A lot of people do some cool stuff. So, I'd imagine a good bit of your day you probably spend on Twitter a little bit just keeping up with these guys.
Yeah, like I still try to get in the weight room a little bit, but I get my thumb exercise pretty good every day. So I'm on Twitter a whole lot.
Yeah. I was going to ask about the evaluation process. How has that changed, particularly for the class coming through right now? Because you hadn't really had a chance to get as many eyeballs on those guys. And is it simply a matter of it being pushed back a little bit now that the dead period is about to end? You can start to jump into it, or have you had to adjust when it comes to the evals?
Yeah, it's definitely been an adjustment with it because, of course, usually during a normal year we would have camps. Coaches would be able to go out and watch guys' games. But, of course, technology has helped immensely with that. And like the old saying, the eye in the sky don't lie. So we watch a lot of film and we try to get all just like we were talking about earlier with looking at track times, looking at all the different things you can to try to just get a better assessment and evaluation on guys.
How much has the transfer portal changed your job over the last, whatever it's been now, 2-3 years?
Mm-hmm. It definitely has changed it. I think it's changed for like pretty much all programs throughout the country, just because not only do you have guys who are possibly exiting your program, but you also have to think about guys who can come in and make an earlier impact on your squad for people who may have left because of you may have gotten drafted or it just wasn't a great fit for that person at the time. So it's been essential for us to like literally track what's going on and just know what's going on out there.
Is that something y'all do daily? I'm just curious how often, is it like the coaches on the transfer portal, or are they like us on Twitter, refreshing it every few minutes?
Yeah. Here in the recruiting department, we actually go through and we're constantly updating and keeping track of the transfer portal for needs that we may have.
How about the number situation too? Did that kind of make it hard to put a number, like if you're trying to say, we're going to aim for X amount of players this year, but with the transfer portal, it may change. And then you don't know what the scholarship limit's going to be with the NCAA and super seniors and all that. Mm-hmm. Is that a bit of a challenge this year?
I definitely stepped in the right time to give me a little bit more challenge with my job with this roster management. But no, it's definitely something that we've been working on, keeping track of. With our scholarship numbers, of course, by NCAA rule, you can only have 85 guys on the scholarship. So just basically managing all that and all the things we have to. Definitely been keeping me on my toes.
But not keeping you up, right?
No, that's another thing too that I'm happy and I have that trait to be. I'm a pretty
Yeah.
even keel person. Like most of the time, there's never a whole lot of highs, never a whole lot of lows. So uh, I'm able to sleep okay most nights.
Good.
Mercy, I just got a couple more for you. Obviously with the NFL draft coming up, this is the time of the year where NC State fans, media, whoever is talking about all the Pac pros that are representing NC State in the NFL. And obviously there's been a ton of track record of success, whether you look at, the D line or all the quarterbacks that represent NC State in the NFL. I mean, how much is that part of a pitch when you talk to a kid, about his potential at NC State? Because I'm sure that's a top of the mind type of, element for a lot of these recruits. They all want to go pro eventually one day. Wouldn't we all? How much is that into your pitch? And then also, I mean, how helpful is it to have just such a long list of players that are having so much success at the next level to say, if you come to NC State, you can have this type of success?
Yeah, and that's huge. Like I would say all the guys that we recruit, they have a goal of playing on Sundays. So being able to come in and turn your TV on and see a Bradley Chubb or see a Naheem Hines out there playing and saying that they were at NC State, and it shows that you can come here and do the same thing. So it's great having those guys. Of course, this year we'll have Aleem McNeil probably adding to that. It's just been good and it's been great, and it goes to show what a great job Coach Doran and our coaches do, developing guys into and helping them reach their goals of playing in the NFL.
And my last one, we talked a little bit about the creative media elements and, your job and day-to-day process and the recruiting process at NC State and everywhere in college football. And I've seen some of the, the edits that are on social media with some of the, targets and eventual signees or commits. And sometimes, you got the videos of when a kid, is a walk-on and he gets a scholarship, that there's a special video, there's a special unveil. How did you learn about your most recent promotion? Was there a special, photo edit or maybe, a process of getting the team together? Or did Dave Dorn just, call you in his office and say, Mercy, here's what we're doing? What was it like, and what was your reaction like?
Literally, we Coach Doran gave us some time off, so I had a small layover, like literally like a 30-minute layover. So I'm like hustling to my next gate in the airport, and he calls me, and he tells me then. So it wasn't anything elaborate. It wasn't even anything big, but it was great. Definitely great to have the opportunity to do it. So it was no big performance or anything behind it.
You probably like, come on, coach, I got to get to my flight, man. You could, I mean, I'm a man on the run right now, but I'm sure it's always good news when there's a promotion involved. So I'm sure you'd accept that whenever it comes. But
Yeah,
no,
it
that's
was great
cool.
news.
Matt, you got any more questions?
Yeah, I was gonna. I had a couple questions, but I think it also proved to Coach Doran that you would take his phone call no matter what, under any circumstances. If he calls you, you're gonna stop and take the call, huh?
Yeah, like I said, I'm a real easy person, and that's one of the things that I really like about Coach Doran. He is too. So
Yeah.
unless he like really needs something, he won't call me. Like it's rare, like late night, unless something going on. Like he's not gonna call because, of course, he enjoys being around his family. So he's big on family time. So that's what he's usually doing.
Does he get a special ringtone on your phone? Because when Coach is calling, it's important. So I know.
Nah.
So I know sometimes like there's significant others that'll be the dun 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 dun, the Imperial anthem or whatever. I don't know.
No, like fortunately for me, like I've gotten a lot better with technology. I'm moving and progressing with technology. So with my watch always lets me know if a call or something coming through. I feel it vibrating. I look down, and of course, Coach Dorn's calling. I'm gonna hit it and answer it and see how could I help him.
I've got a clown ringtone for Matt when he calls me, which is probably a lot more regularly. So fair enough.
The sad thing is that that's a better ringtone than the one my wife has for me when I call her. when I'm going to ask you a recruiting question, then kind of a lighthearted question. What do y'all look for when you evaluate them that maybe some people don't know? I mean, how did the evaluation process work in general?
The great thing again, I keep praising technology. Technology is good and bad. When I was coming through, I can remember if you had a highlight tape, that means your coach actually sat down and like broke it up and put it on a VHS or put it on a DVD for you and sent it out. Nowadays we have Huddle and everybody has access to it. So literally right after a game, I last weekend, like 12 o'clock, a couple recruits were sending me their highlights after their playoff game. So we're able to get things like almost instantly and right there. So that's definitely helped with the whole process of seeing what's going on with the guys.
Okay. I also noticed. I'm going to ask this one question. You played at NC State. You've obviously been on the sidelines at NC State the last few years. I'm not going to ask you to say just one because I don't want you to offend anybody. But who would maybe give me like 3 names of guys in your time at NC State, either as a player or as a coach / recruiting office guy that really you're like, whoa, this guy is good.
So since I've been back, I actually got back here. It was Chubb and that D-Line's senior year. So it was definitely very good to see them in person and watch them work, and even watch them work every day in practice. So as a collective group, that was one. Naheem Hines was very good to watch. He can run a little bit too. So there's another guy who's fast. He can run also. Yeah. Watching Ryan Finley be so accurate with the ball was also very good. Jalen Samuels, watching him catch like 20 passes my first game back here versus South Carolina was definitely a sight to see. Yeah. And definitely had some great guys. And that's just to mention a few.
Yeah. My last question is, every time I see a picture of you either on game day or some kind of group gathering, you seem to be the most well-dressed of the group. Is that something something you take pride in? And if somebody were to look at your closet, how impressed would they be?
Well, if you look good, you feel good. So that's my motto. And I'm a really big shoe guy. So I have a lot of shoes. Like if everybody has their thing, and shoes are my thing. I know for a fact I have over 200 pairs of shoes. So that's probably my thing. And of course, like you look good, you feel good. So
do you have a shoe closet with that many shoes? Or I mean, how do you manage that many shoes?
So when I was moving back here to Raleigh, looking at places, that was the first thing I went. I went straight to closets. Like, how big is the closet? Because I wanted to make sure I'll be able to house all my shoes. And I probably have a little bit over half of my shoes here, and the rest of my shoes are back home in Washington, Georgia, at my mom's house. So usually when I make trips home, I'll actually rotate some stuff. I'll take some stuff home and I'll rotate it out.
That's a true connoisseur right there.
Wait, had you compared notes with Kevin Keats? Have you ever had a chance to meet up with Kevin Keats and compare shoe games?
Yeah. I've seen a couple things that Coach Keats he enrolled with. It's a couple custom things, but I can comfortably say, and I'm pretty confident in it, that NC State, there's nobody staff wise, I'll say player wise either, that's messing with me with the shoes. Like I'm gonna crown myself as the champion of that.
I was just about to ask you if there was ever a recruit or a player that can compete with your shoe game. Now, I don't think you could say that anybody has better shoe game than you, but if there was one that maybe could compete with you, who would it be?
Bam Knight does pretty good. Let me see who else. Thayer Thomas pretty good. Drake's pretty good. Who else? Who else on the teams? We got a couple guys. Who kind of keep me on my toes a little bit. And also Corey Phillips, who just came in. He talks a lot of trash, and he got a couple pair, but he's still not there yet. He's still not with me yet.
Well, I imagine some of those guys, I mean, you got such big feet that it's probably hard to find your size in some of these selections. I don't know what size foot you got, but I'm sure some of the linemen and stuff, they probably get up to size 16, 17. That's tough to find.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. Like I'm a 14, 13. So I'm right there on the limit. And sometimes if a shoe is close and I really like the shoe, I'll take insoles out just to be able to wear the shoes. So it just all depends.
That's the perfect shoe size to have. I'm a 13 guy myself, but it's like right at the point where they stop making them, but it's also big enough that not a lot of people wear them, so you can still get the rare shoes that everybody that wears a size 10 or 11, those are already claimed, but you'll pick up the hidden gems with that shoe size, man.
Yeah, every once in a while, because it's still kind of tough, but I've been doing the shoe thing for a long time. Like I tell people all the time, like, no, I just hadn't started like wearing shoes. Like you can go back to like high school pictures and stuff. Like, dang, you got some nice shoes on then. But I've been doing it for a long time. Actually, at my mom's house, I still have shoes from like high school. I still have some, and I can pull them out, and they still look new. So I've been doing it for a long time.
You got me beat. I think I got 5 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, Matt's not the guy that don't take fashion advice from Matt Carter. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm much better, but I'm definitely better dressed than my colleague here.
Hey, everybody got their own style. Everybody do what they do. So long as you feel good with it, you're good.
I'm trying to play the dad look. That's my goal, to be the dad.
Well done.
So, yeah.
Matt, you have
Mercy.
You have any other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much, Mercy, for joining us here for the quick conversation. For the listeners at home, please remember to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast wherever you listen to us. We're on Apple Podcast app, Spotify, Google Play. Head over to thewolfpacker.com, too, where you can always listen to this podcast. And please use promo code PACK60 for a free 60-day trial on all of our premium content, news, and analysis while you're there. Follow us on social media. You can follow our main account at The Wolfpacker. You can follow me personally at Justin H. Will. I'm sure you're probably already following at NC State Football, and you can find Mercy on there. I don't have his Twitter handle on there. You want to give out your Twitter handle, Mercy, for the folks at home?
Yeah. It's Coach_MERCI. Coach_MERCI. Coach Mercy.
Easy enough. Go give him a follow, guys and gals listening to this show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up. So for Merci Falaise, Matt Carter, Justin Williams, this has been the Wolfpacker Podcast. Thank you so much for listening.